Good afternoon. It's August 8th, 2022, and this is Dr. Rich Bernardo with his first introductory video for my fall HRM, I think it's 737 course about human development, staff development programs. I never remember the title of things, so bear with me on that. Again, my name is Rich Bernardo, Dr. Richard Bernardo, Bernato. People have a tendency to put a D in there instead of a T, but it's with a T and not with a D. And please remember that when you're trying to find me on an email or something along those lines. I'm pleased to be able to speak to you this morning, rather this afternoon, via this video. What I will do is I will record this. I'm recording it on Zoom, and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. And then when it uploads to YouTube, I'll put that link back into the Blackboard shell for you to view between now and I believe it's August 22nd when the semester actually begins. Pretty sure it's August 22nd. I was positive. Enough said about that. And what I want to do now is just kind of share my screen and walk you through the typical things that I will do this again probably on the official beginning of the course to get you out in front of some things. I will also, well, I'm talking too much. Let me just try to get the share going. And then we'll get to, nope, it's not there. Give me a second. Okay, you have in front of you, and you have the syllabus that I posted a couple of days ago. I guess maybe it was last Thursday or Friday. And I will tell you that I have an issue with syllabi. I don't like the way syllabi hammer me into different corners of certain things. So I reserve the right to change things in the syllabus with giving you ample notice well ahead of whatever my decisions may be so that you won't be penalized for anything ever. But I like the way a syllabus lays out what the overall expectations of a course are about. But what I don't like about a syllabus is that it's far too inflexible, in my view, in terms of really working with what a group is all about. My recollection is that there are 9 of you in this course, and perhaps a couple more will sign on before the course officially begins. And so in a perfect world, we'd all be in the same place, working face to face. But in the new world in which we live, for better or for worse, you'll be scattered here, there, and everywhere, as well as I will be. And so we're working with a Zoom expectation by way of communication and a Blackboard expectation. I want to emphasize that as well. And so it's really necessary that we use these kinds of opportunities to really understand what we're all about. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the syllabus and a couple of other things as they may occur to me so that you can get a head start on what the expectations may be. And we'll go from there. So without any further ado, let's get going. Again, my name is Dr. Richard Bernardo. I've been a professor at Stony Brook for about 5 years now, both in the SPD and in the business departments. I'm still a professor at St. John's University in the EDD program leadership there. As he also was the assistant dean at Dowling College, now defunct, for maybe 20 years. So altogether, I've been educating students in one form or another for longer than any of you were alive. I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure if that's a badge of courage or a badge of honor or something I should even brag about. But by looking at me in the picture, you can see I'm not. I'm on the old side of the street. But I still have my fastball, and I'm really thrilled to teach this course. I only taught this course once before last spring, and I took to it like a duck to water because this is my kind of course. And I like the way this course gives people a chance to truly grow into becoming human resource professionals. I really think it's got great potential to do that. And in my mind, in terms of a business degree, there are few things more important than your understanding how it is that the opportunities that you may have and the strength that you may be able to leverage over to grow your staff to be the kinds of people that you need to grow the organization to meet its mission, whatever the mission may be. And that's my little spiel about that. Again, my name is Richard Bernardo with a T. There's my phone number, my cell phone, 631-848-0316. You can call me anytime you like. You can FaceTime me anytime you like. Skype me anytime you like, as long as it's between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., unless it's a heaven forbid. If you have a heaven forbid and you have to talk to me, you do that. Now, if you text me, which is also a very legitimate way for us to communicate, if you text me, just put your name on the text, because I'm teaching a fair load of courses this semester, and I don't want to confuse you with somebody else. So just say, hi, I'm John Smith from the 537 course at Stony Brook, and that'll be enough. But I need to know who you are so that I can save a little time as such. Enough said. So I don't like to be read to. I have auditory hearing deficits, I sometimes think, but I do like to talk, as you can probably tell. And at the same time, I don't like to be read to, as I said a minute ago. And so I don't like to read things to students that they can read themselves, except for sometimes for emphasis. And that's what I'm going to do right now, here and there. So bear with me, because I think it's got value. I'm not sure I keep this video too short. I don't want to have you falling asleep in the middle of it and having a bad taste in your mouth before we even get the course going. So here's the course description. You'll notice I've highlighted some premises, and I'll just go to those straight away. So the course is intended to provide an overview of employee learning methods that really emphasize training design, development, and evaluation procedures in organizations. In other words, you need to know how to train your folks to do what you want them to do in order for the organization to be effective, which also means you need to evaluate with what you do and how you plan and what you design aligns with the mission of your organization and aligns with whatever it is that you want that organization to be able to do, among other things. And I emphasize that it's among other things. You're going to do a needs analysis. You're going to survey some of the latest training technologies. We'll have some fun with that, I hope. And apply some specific methodologies to maximize adult learning. I'm an expert on curriculum development and an expert on professional development for a number of different sets of experiences, of course, in my life. But I want to emphasize this term of adult learners. We're not talking about kindergarten children. We're talking about you're working with adults, and they have different needs than students or college students, for that matter. The needs are different, and so we're going to talk about that here and there when we can, and make sure that we embed those into our thinking all the way through the course. The key term is development. That is to say, organizational development through employee development. And we're going to review that very carefully. So that's the description of the course. I will tell you that ordinarily I don't like to use textbooks, but since we're doing the online approaches, I find it more effective to work with a textbook. This is a very good textbook, and I'm going to emphasize that you need to get the textbook. There's no dodging this. I know everybody kind of wants to save the money. In fact, the book I have of this text, the copy I have of this text, I have on my Kindle, and it works just fine. And so you can probably save a few dollars if you get it on a Kindle. You can get an older edition. I don't recommend that because some of these newer training technologies, obviously some of these new technologies we're talking about, are best served by the most recent book. And so the book is written by Raymond Noe, N-O-E, and it's the 8th edition, and there's the ISBN number, and you really need to have the book. You're going to need the book, okay? for any number of reasons. There's some optional books to talk about, not required, but optional. I would recommend highly the Durlac book. Durlac is a very well-known author in terms of adaptive technologies, and it has great value if you're interested in that premise about making sure that the technologies you use with developing your employees makes room for adapting it to their special needs. It certainly has value there, among other things. However, there are two books here that I'm recommending very, very highly. Not telling you to buy them, but I am telling you to. I would recommend that you have them in your professional library up the road. And we're going to spend a considerable time on using both of them, especially early on. But I'm going to supplement, since it's a recommended book and not a required book, I'm going to supplement these through various videos and things I'll be posting up in the documents. Before I forget, it's a little off topic. I don't have the assignments built into the syllabus yet. Depending when you look at this video and when you go to access the syllabus, not to worry, the assignments are in this syllabus, and that you will have as soon as you open up Blackboard. We're using Blackboard. We're not using the new system. I'll move to that in the spring semester, but we are going to use Blackboard in this system here, way it works. But I will recommend strongly that you get that you at least take a look at Edgar Schein. His book, Organizational Culture and Leadership, is directly related to so much of what you'll be trying to do within this course, and quite frankly, of course, the degree program, as far as I'm concerned. In like numbers would be Peter Senge. Now, by the way, Senge and Schein are both out of the Sloan School of Management in MIT, so there's a lot of similarity between them. In some senses, Senge is a son of Schein. Schein is, in my view, the godfather of so many things associated with organizational culture. And Senge takes it to a different place when he talks about the fifth discipline, more specifically, as far as what you think you're concerned about, until I widen your vision on this, is about systems thinking. But he goes much more broadly than that, and more deeply than that as well. So between Schein and Senge, you're going to get a kind of a mini course within the course about those two gentlemen, so that you can embed their thinking and their skill sets into your needs assessment, development, and the plans the strategies that you're going to use to train your employees differently from how you may be training them right now. So again, it's HRM 537. I'm not going these things I'm not going to read to you, except to obviously point out it's an online course. There's a calendar beneath that we'll talk about in a moment. So presuming that you get the text, either the ebook or the actual book, between now and then you can get yourself started. Some of this material here is about technical approaches, what you need. I'm going to presume that you've got the technology capacities to do what you have. If you don't, you just have to get them one way or another. And I'll help you with that if you need the help. And I'm going to presume that you all have the wherewithal and skill sets to use whatever computer you use to make that happen. Now, I was going to skip over what's here in yellow and come back to this later, but for the sake of structure, I'll stay with it for the moment. Every course needs to have learning objectives. And we'll talk more very clearly about the difference between a learning objective and a learning goal. And there's a difference. An objective can be a goal, but a goal cannot be an objective. They overlap, but they're not the same thing. We'll talk more about that down the line. In fact, I'll just point out the verbs. Take a look. Identify, set up, select, apply, discuss. Those are all what I call Bloom verbs, and we'll talk more about that later in the semester, which are very specific verbs that define the behavior that you're going to be able to speak to in terms of the goal. But the first objective is to identify a variety of employee learning methods, including training, design, and PD, or professional development. And that you'll be able to set up a needs analysis. But sometimes I think that should be the first objective rather than the second. But they go hand in hand, obviously. That you'll be able to select training approaches and strategies to teach the material. to enable your employees to practice and master the skills and learn the content of the expectations they have within their roles. So yes, you're going to apply those methodologies in order to maximize the adult learning dispositions that adults have in terms of learning as compared to younger students, in order to improve upon the organizational development. The fifth objective will be to discuss the types of evaluation procedures that you can use in organizations. It's one thing to have a goal. Okay, it's another thing to evaluate the goal to make sure that you've met the goal, and that by the way, is when it becomes an objective. And so, how do you fairly and decisively, with utility, evaluate the procedures that you use to grow your stakeholders? And I use that word "grow" a long time. Nurture your stakeholders too, for that matter. And you're going to be able to discuss some issues and methods associated with development. That is to say, the learning levels of the people with whom you're training, and to create an atmosphere of continuous learning, which is a major issue that goes back to Senge, I think. So those are your 6 objectives, and I hang my hat on those objectives. You'll see that the chart below speaks specifically to each of those objectives and each of the topics in each of the tasks and assignments that I give you. So again, in order to succeed in this course, you've got to do certain things. I'm pointing as if you can see me pointing at you. You have to do certain things. One thing is, you got to watch it's not on here. Oh yes, it's a little lower. So I'll come to that in a moment. You got to complete all the assignments. Hello, you need to complete the assignments. There's 3 kinds of assignments. Really 4. Okay, let's leave that one over here. There's 3 kinds of assignments. One is to complete the discussion expectation, imperative to take care of. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. Another one is to complete a satisfactory midterm. Now, the midterm isn't to find out what you don't know. The midterm is to find out what you do know. It's not a penalty. It's just something to keep you on target, online, to complete the course as such. And you've got to complete an applications assignment, which in essence is the end paper for the course. The 4th piece is you've got to watch the videos I post. I'm going to post 2 kinds of videos. One video, I'm jumping ahead of myself, is going to be a weekly optional, I'm shouting this for emphasis, optional office hours approach. We'll probably do on Monday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Optional. You are not required to sit in on any optional assignment, video, office hour. It's optional, he shouted 4 times now. You're invited. So, I might have all 9 of you one week. I may have 1 of you the next. I may have none of you another week, depending on what your questions and what you think you need to have me elaborate on. So that's one kind of video we'll be doing. And I'll post the link for that when we get closer to August 22nd. The other one is videos and documents I will post up, PowerPoint sometimes, about material I don't think the book does a great job with, or material I want us to supplement, even though the book may be doing a good job with it. I might be doing myself doing a video, maybe post up a YouTube that I think has got value, and you need to watch those videos. And so watching those videos will obviously count as part of the time that you invest into the course, as well as the other 3 pieces, which is, again, to do the discussion question weekly, as well as what's expected of that, to turn in a midterm in week 5, and to turn in an applications paper in at the end of the course. So, as I already said, there's going to be a weekly video that will sum up the important concepts. Your business to watch it or not, and might also complement or supplement with other pieces of things that we'll be doing. And then there'll be an optional office session on Mondays. Most of the time it'll be on Monday. If it's not, I'll let you know if I have something going on, but from 6 to 7 p.m. Nobody shows up, I turn off my computer and I go watch the Yankees. If somebody's there, we have an hour to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. Okay? So you understand that that's part of the hourly expectation of the course as such. And then you can see the setup of this. It's the typical Stony Brook format. The week week 1, week 2, and so forth. And I put the dates down. I think I was pretty accurate on the dates. I think I had them pretty accurate. What the topic is, what the objectives are. Again, keyed back to the 6 objectives I showed you already. What readings, videos, podcasts, whatever documents I may post up are identified here, though I reserve the right to add or subtract from this. Probably add, quite frankly. And then you have activities. For example, in the first week, between August 22nd and August, and I gotta change that, and August 29th, can't do it now, but this is August 29th, I expect you to look over the syllabus. I expect you to view this video, and maybe others, but right now this video. I expect you to read all these online procedures and to review anything else I'll be posting up and I'll tell you when they're going up when I do them up on Blackboard. Okay. And the only thing I'm going to do is just go to the second week, which is the 30th of August through the 7th of September. There's a specific topic. First one's kind of introductory. First one's really where we dig into the book, employee training and development as an overview, discuss the forces that influence the workplace. I'm not going to read all this to you. You can see how it all links together, and there's the learning objectives for that week. And what you should be doing, that is to say, reading chapters 1 and 2, including the Zappos case study, in this case, at the end of chapter 1, and probably responding to some things I deliberately haven't put up yet. And so your responsibility is to respond to the discussion forum questions. A big piece of the discussion piece is your requirement. It's not something if you feel like doing that you do it. Your requirement to respond to your colleagues' points of view as well. Must do that. And doing that will get you 3 points a week. And by that time we'll have gotten a video up about systems thinking and futuring. And a lot of the material that flows from that blue highlight will really color, no pun intended, what the shape the course will take. I am not going to read the rest of the weeks. You can see there, I think week 5 is the day the midterm is due. I think I need to put that in there as a time frame. And then the last week of the course, there's an assignment that's due. But in the meantime, there's all these other things that you need to do and be able to do, as well as the connection and relationship with those almighty objectives, all powerful objectives. So that's the meat and potatoes of the course right there. Get the book, know that there's 3 assignments, 4 in a sense. One being watch it or review all the material I give you. The other one being optionally attend the office hour on Monday nights. And then the third piece would be, the other 3 pieces would be do the discussion questions, do the midterm, and we'll have a special session about how to do that midterm, and do the applications paper, which you can't possibly do until the last couple of weeks of the course, quite frankly. I don't pay attention to this also well, but sometimes students do. There's the breakdown, 30 points for discussion, 30 for the midterm, and 40 for the end paper. Okay. I already pointed out there's a midterm exam. I'm not going to read that to you. It's a case study and your response to it. And there's an applications paper where you're going to apply the issues that you learn from the course to some very specific questions that I'll design when we get deeper into the course. And that's due by November 11th, although the course ends on November 4th. There's a rubric for the discussion questions. That's how I figure out grades. And then you need to be aware of all of these different kinds of policies that the Stony Brook insists on, and rightfully so, in terms of equity and in terms of doing the right thing by you to give you all of what you need to do. My role is guide. I'm not sure if you like this, if you've heard this phrase before, but I've been using it for a long time. I didn't make it up. I've been using it for a long time, which is the guide on the side versus the sage on the stage. I do not view myself as the sage on the stage. The book might be the sage on your sage. That is to say, the wisdom giver. I'm the facilitator. I'm the one who gets you to respond in and among yourselves. I'm the one who's going to goad you and coax you to interact with me and with the material, to make the material part of how you intend to grow yourself to be a better human resource person. So that's my job, as far as I'm concerned. I'm a pleasant pain in the neck. And the rest of that you think you've already seen. So there's other things I probably will think about saying to you after I stop this. But I think that for the most part, I've covered this. I'm going to say a lot of this again in another video when we get closer to the 22nd. I'm counting on the fact, understanding that some people have already reached out to me, that you are anxious to get the book, you're anxious to get yourself moving, to understand what the course is about. You have my blessing to email me or call me if you need to. But by the way, I'm very responsive on emails and text, but especially email. If you email me, I'm probably emailing you before you finish saying send. Now, I might just say call me because my answer to you is too long, but you can pretty much be guaranteed that you'll get a lot of attention from me every time you reach out to me as such. Only one thing I just remembered I wanted to point out, that the expectation for this discussion, I'll read it to you, it's in the syllabus rather than share the screen again, where you're expected to post a response. I'll bring that up to share again, just to make it safe. I'll point this out so you can see it in two ways. You're going to post your response to me, and I'm going to respond to you, not all the time. I might just say thank you, but I'll respond to the original responses. And then you're expected to look at least two other threads and respond to at least one other student. You should be posting at least probably once or twice a week to get the full 30 points. I'm pretty liberal about that, but the 30 points is not a giveaway either, because in my view of thinking, the discussion is the lubrication of this course. So oils the machinery and gets that engine to run. So it's got a lot of importance. Now, one thing I want to do too before I forget, I'm going to come out of the syllabus, and I'm going to go, oh boy, I lost it. To the discussion questions themselves, as soon as I can find where they are. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to the discussion. In this case, in the first week prior to the course really starting, but during that, no later than the first week, here are the first discussion questions. What do you think you know about developing staff to meet the needs of your organization? What do you think you do not know about meeting your staff's needs? What do you not know that you do not know about meeting your staff's needs? That's not a typo. That's what you call an intellectual capital question. Tell me what you think that you know. Some of you may be experienced human resource managers. Some of you may be brand new to the game, or just entering the profession. What do you know? What do you not know? What do you think you don't know that you don't know? What are you wondering about? Really, is the part of that question. And there's another question as well, and that question is, introduce yourself to me and to your class colleagues. Give me a couple of paragraphs on that. What's your present role? Are you a student? Are you, again, a professional who's looking to complete her degree and is coming back to bone up on some things that you need to have? So tell me about your professional and your personal interests, what you think you want to share, because everyone's going to read this. What you think your strengths are. Don't tell me what your weaknesses are, because then you're going to put yourself in a place where your weaknesses are important, but you don't need to advertise them. If I advertise my weaknesses, YouTube would be a lot longer. Emphases that you'd like to see about the course. I won't guarantee I can get to all of the things that everyone would like to see in the course, but I do guarantee I will try. And that's it. So there's two sets of questions in the first week. And then after that, I will post new questions every week rather than post questions from a can and just pop them in there. I would rather see where I think the class is and kind of pro tem ad hoc to do it rather than the other way around. So now I'm going to sign off and hopefully hope they meet all of you somehow sooner or later, perhaps in the optional session or in some other kind of interaction, because I like to know the people who I'm working with, because I like to know who my students are. Enough said. I'm going to sign off now and see you in a couple of weeks.